Blog Talk Radio.
Rides on a GSXR or a CX-10. He rides on the freeways of life and he confronts your sin. Shotgun now, you confront the pagans. Shotgun now, you eat the vegans. Oh, shotgun now, I think you're really freaking awesome. I wish I could ride like you. I wish I had a camera like you. I wish I were like you. Oh, I wish I believed like you. Shotgun now, you can't stop him. Shotgun now, riding away from sin. Shotgun now, oh, he's long gone. Sitting in trailer park, there's Pagan Ron.
Hey guys, how you doing? We're going to have a big show on Sunday in God's Only Son. So first I'm going to start off with a testimonial that I received from an actual person that was in witchcraft, and then we'll get into some other testimonials, different emails that people have given me. Now Sunday, if you look on my channel, Sunday in the morning time, we are having a live, huge radio show on this topic. It is going to be packed. We're going to have a lot of witches, pagans, Christians here. And I want to say something also. I don't have any enemies. I have one enemy, and he's human. He's not human, I should say. It's Satan. So I don't have any human enemies. The reason why we do this is because Jesus Christ commanded Christians, those of you that are in the evil religions of Wicca, paganism, and stuff according to the Bible, just know that Jesus Christ commanded us to go ahead and preach the gospel, so that's why we do it. So let's start with the first testimony. This is a gal. She's on YouTube also. She's given me permission to read her testimony, hinting for Jesus. Then we'll talk about paganism. We'll talk about that, different people that have left paganism. And so let's get started with testimony number 1. I received today an email from this channel, Hinton for Jesus, and I would ask all you guys to please go and subscribe to Hinton for Jesus, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Click more info. So let's get started. This is another edition, a special edition of Shockbox. Hinton used to be in witchcraft and also Wicca, Santeria, Satanism, and her story is awesome. I'm going to read it to you here, and I may break this up into 2 parts because it's just that awesome. It says, wow, I'm not sure what to say. Thank you so much for wanting me to do a video about how I left Wicca. I wasn't expecting that. God is so awesome. My complete testimony could take days to tell you. I've been through a lot in my short 38 years, and I would love to tell you that I left practicing Wicca, and then she puts witchcraft, both black and white, Yoruba, Santeria, magic, Satanism, and a bunch of other stuff, and ran straight into God's arms. But the truth is I kept running, and God kept chasing after me. I don't know how much of this you want to use because it is also connected, but I share with you a very shortened version of my testimony, and you could decide what you want to use. Where's my pen at? Okay. If you have any questions, please ask. And again, you guys, please, brave woman to share her testimony, please subscribe. Everybody, please, you also, subscribe to her channel. I didn't grow up hearing regular bedtime stories. My grandmother used to tell me stories about ghosts, witches, etc. as bedtime stories. I never feared the boogeyman, but went looking for him even as young as 4 to 5 years old. Excuse me. Now, my granny would never have thought of practicing the occult, but she did like the stories, but that is all it was to her, a story. I was an extremely shy and agoraphobic, not to mention an extremely sickly child. I spent 6 to 8 months a year in the hospital with my granny sitting there with me, sharing all her stories. I rarely went to school, didn't have any friends. My mom was verbally and emotionally abusive, and my grandmother was like my second mom. I didn't grow up in a religious home, never went to church, didn't own a Bible. Knew nothing as a child about Jesus, except there were movies about him that my grandmother watched every now and then. When I was about 9 years old, I got really sick to the point that I almost died. I had a dream, vision, whatever you want to call it, that shook me up really bad. It's been almost 30 years and I can still remember that dream. I was in this white room. I couldn't see a door, window, ceiling, floor. Everything was white. I was laying on a cold metal table. I heard a noise to my right. A door opened from out of nowhere, and on the other side was pitch darkness, and out of this darkness came a hooded figure who put its hand on my forehead and said, "You're not done," and vanished. I woke up scared and shaken, and no one would listen to me or even try to explain what happened to me. So as soon as I got better, I went to the only place I thought might have had an answer, the library. Around here, back in 1979, kids were not allowed in the adult section of the library, but I snuck over there and sat on the floor reading when this book from the top shelf on its own fell to the floor beside me. I looked around to see if someone had pushed it or something, and there was no one. That book was Witchcraft Today by Gerald B. Gardner. I was 9 years old. For the next 4 years, I studied everything the library could get. In parentheses, I asked my grandmother to ask the library to get the books for me, since kids couldn't back then, about witchcraft. And I wrote all the info down in notebooks. Then on September 18, 1983, I self-dedicated myself into Wicca. It was my 13th birthday. Shortly after, I started practicing with a local coven. Right off, they began to use me because I had a strong psychic gift. If I told you something was going to happen, it happened. I knew things about people I couldn't have known. I saw things people couldn't see. By the end of 1983, I had developed an extreme depression and became a banger. A banger is a self-mutilator, but we want to feel deeper pain than cutting, so we bang whatever we can on our bodies up against hard surfaces until it breaks, causing massive pain. I wasn't like this before September 18th, 1983, so she's basically attributing this to what she had learned, you see, and what she got involved with. I also became an extreme Christian hater. If I had saw a Christian lay in the middle of the road dying, I would have danced for joy. I hated Christians so much that I can remember seeing this film on Hitler in school, one of the rare days I was able to go, and thinking, he shouldn't have went after the Jews but killed the Christians. I can remember thinking that if I had lived back when Hitler did, I would have convinced him to kill Christians and made sure I was in charge of the oven so I could make sure that every last Christian was in them. I was evil. I think back to those days, I don't even recognize myself. I didn't have a problem with this man Jesus. Notice, I did not have a problem with this man Jesus that I saw on TV. He loved everybody and had some great teachings, but I didn't buy into the whole God thing. I wasn't quite atheist, but I was what I considered agnostic, since I just didn't know about this God thing. Jesus was okay with me. It was his followers I had a problem with. Sour-faced, cruel, mean-spirited, greedy, never crack a joke Christians. Now, 6 minutes. I've got 6 minutes, so I got to read really fast. Okay. Do you know, up until 1994, I never once saw a smiling Christian, never someone laugh, joke, or even love. I saw a bunch of people using God to get whatever they wanted from him, and blank with anything and everyone else. Excuse the language, but that is how I used to think. If Jesus was so loving and caring, giving, why aren't his people? I still find myself asking that sometimes. So what happened in 1994? It was May, and I wasn't feeling well. I was sick at my stomach. I had a fever and thought I was coming down with the flu until I started to hemorrhage. My mom took me to the ER, and there I was told I had a violent miscarriage. My first and only time of being pregnant. I was in the hospital for several days. When I got out, I told the baby's father, who got really angry and proceeded to beat me up again